34th verse. Ataram sukshmatamam avyaktam nirvisheshanam anadimadhya nidhanam nityang vangmanasa param. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ataha, therefore, param, transcendental, sukshmatamam, finer than the finest, avyaktam, unmanifested, nirvisheshanam, without material features, anadi, without beginning, madhya, without an intermediate stage, nidhanam, without end, nityam, eternal, vak, words, manasaha, of the mind, param, transcendental. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation: therefore, beyond this gross manifestation is a transcendental manifestation, finer than the finest form. It has no beginning, no intermediate stage, no end. Therefore, it is beyond the limits of expression or mental speculation and is distinct from material conception. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. I'll just pray and then I'll explain the purport. That's a good thing. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Anjana Shalaka Chakshirunmiritam Yena Tasmaya Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatise Vedante Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani. Okay, so reading purport by Srila Prabhupada. Let's read this first and then I'll take one by one line. So we'll come to know what's there. This is a very important purport. There are many points to be discussed here. Many points and important points. So I'll read this, then again we'll come back. The gross external body of Supreme is manifested at a certain intervals, and thus the external feature and form of Supreme Personality of Godhead is not eternal form of the Lord. It has no beginning, no intermediate stage, and no end. Anything which has beginning, interim, and end is called material. The material world is begin from the Lord, and the form of Lord before the beginning of material world is certainly transcendental to the finest or the finer material conceptions. The ether in the material world is considered to be the finest. Finer than the ether is mind, intelligence, and false ego. But all 8 of the outward coverings are explained as outer coverings of the Absolute Truth. The Absolute Truth is therefore beyond the expression and speculation of material conception. He is certainly transcendental to all material conceptions. This is called Nirvisheshanam. One should not, however, misunderstand Nirvisheshanam as being without any transcendental qualifications. Visheshanam means qualities. Therefore, nir added to it means he has no material qualities or variegatedness. This nullifying expression is described in 4 transcendental qualifications, namely unmanifested, transcendental, eternal, and beyond conception of mind or words. Beyond the limits of words means negation of material conception. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to know the transcendental form of Lord. So now I'm going to read again this purport. And my job is to show you that this is very deep. Although it seems that Prabhupada is repeating. It seems like that. We all know all these things. It's nothing special. But there is special to this. And we have to think. We have to maybe churn this purport. Okay, what's the first line Prabhupada says of this purport? The gross external body of Supreme is manifested at certain intervals, and thus the external feature or form of Supreme Personality of Godhead is not the eternal form of Lord, which has no beginning, no intermediate, and no end. Now, this seems a very ordinary line. Yes, this material world has no beginning. This material world has a beginning, intermediate stage, and end. And the eternal form of Lord has no beginning, no intermediate stage, no end. That's okay. But the point here Prabhupada is bringing in the first line is, he's not saying material world is like this and spiritual world, Krishna is like that, spiritual world. He's comparing these both things. So comparison sometimes brings out new information. For example, if you have a boy in a class and he scores 60%, and what do you say about him? Okay, 60%. Now if you have another information that some other boys, they have 90%, 95% and 98%. Now you can understand some more. Now you can understand, yes, that boy who got 60% is a failure. You get new information, no? By comparing. If you have just 60% marks, okay, God knows what's happening. But everybody gets good marks and he gets bad. That means there's some problem with him. Is it? So by comparison, you compare two things to deduce new information which is not available there. That's why we do comparison. Or maybe why he got 60%, why other students have got 99% or whatever. Probably because he might have missed some questions in exams. That might be the case. He might say, I missed some questions, so I didn't do some questions, I didn't get marks. So comparison helps to get out more information. And that's precisely, if you read science, Shannon's information theory, that's precisely talking about that. But anyway, I'm talking here. So, okay, now what information you get from this verse? Now Prabhupada is comparing material, something which is something, not material, something which is having beginning, middle, end, and something which is having no beginning, no middle, no end. What kind of information you get by comparison of these both? Prabhupada begins. We get 7 informations out of this comparison. Prabhupada in purport is writing 7 information, 7 new deductible information from this comparison. We can't see this, but I'll show you. There are 7 points here. 7 new information. Okay, what do we get? The first thing Prabhupada is writing, anything which has beginning, interim, end is called material. Now this is ordinary statement, but you know what, when we read purports of Prabhupada, we should read in context. If you don't put the context, everything seems same, Tomorrow I'll talk about it. For example, if you have, if I say you, I love you. Then I say you, I love you. Then I say you, I love you. These 3 statements are same? Is it same or different? It seems same, but when you put in context, they are different. If the first statement, I love you, is said by a child to her mother, child to his mother, and the second statement, I love you, is said by a girlfriend to a boyfriend, and the third statement, I love you, is said by maybe a student to a teacher. All 3 statements now, the meaning is different. The first statement of love is affection. The second statement, girlfriend, boyfriend, that love is lust. And the third statement, student to teacher, that love is probably out of respect. You see, context matters. So what's the context here? Material, anything which has beginning, interim, end is called material. Now when you put in the context, Prabhupada is deducing in the second statement. Our premise was, in this verse, that something is having beginning, end and middle. Something is not having beginning, end and middle. Now we understand, Prabhupada is saying, what is having beginning, middle, end, that is called material. That is material. For example, if a boy has 60% and other boys have 98%, that boy is called bad boy. Now, when you compare. And you don't compare, you don't know whether it's bad or good. No? So, when you compare 2 words, then you can understand this is material. And that is spiritual. You know why? Because some people think that, you see, many people go to mountains and they see nature, and many people have tendency to say, oh, this is spiritual. Is it? In America especially, Yeah, it is so spiritual, so nice. Nature, river, mountains. But it's like saying, A boy who gets 60%, he's good. But when you compare, then you understand that other boys are getting more marks, he's bad. Only 60%. So when you compare with spiritual information, then you understand this is not spiritual, this is material. Because these mountains, trees, everything, they have beginning, middle and end. So that confusion gets solved. That's why Prabhupada is writing this statement. Anything which is beginning, interim, end is called material. We understand what is material by comparison to spiritual. Otherwise you cannot understand. You understand darkness by light. You understand bad by good. In itself, if you have bad thing, you don't understand anything. No. If a person is in cave and he never saw light, and you ask him what is darkness, will he be able to explain? No. He is in darkness, but he has never seen light. If you ask him what is darkness, he'll never be able to tell what is darkness. Because he only knows what is no light. He can't understand what we are talking about. So similarly, if you don't have spiritual information, you cannot tell this is material. You have to compare. You have to compare with something which has no beginning, no middle, no end. Then you can understand. Yes, this has beginning, middle, end. You have that conception. Okay, this is material. This is the first thing we deduce from that information. See, it's such a nice comparison. Now you understand what is material. Okay, good. The Prabhupada is writing his purports. He's thinking deep. It's not just writing. He's thinking very deep. There's something behind logic is coming up. So this is first information we deduce from this. Okay, material. Now what is material? Which is no beginning, no interim, no end. Okay, fine. What do you mean by that? Meaning is that anything which is bound by time and space, that is material. This is one important characteristic of material. Material means not only dead matter, but it also means this matter is bound by time and space. Otherwise, how can it have beginning, middle, end? Beginning, middle, end means time. Beginning, middle, end means space, because space you can divide into beginning, middle, end. Anything bound by time and space, that is material. That's what Prabhupada is writing. Anything which has beginning, interim, end, that is material. And, by the way, that is what is science all about, no? If you have drawn graphs in physics, x, y axis, there's always one axis of time. No? Always. Whether you understand time or not, that's another thing, but there's time. This was problem with Newton. Newton drew axis of time, but when somebody asked him, what is time? Well, I don't know, but there's axis. Nobody understands what's time, because Krishna is time. Just information. So anything bound by time and space, anything which can be put in graph, that's material. Simple. Anything bound by love, that is spiritual. So this material world is bound by time and space. This is material. Spiritual world is bound by love of Krishna. That is spiritual. It's simple. So we get a beautiful deduction from comparison of spiritual material world. So Krishna is bound by time and space? No. Krishna is beyond time. Because function of time is to destroy. Krishna is never destroyed. Krishna has no beginning, no middle, no end. That means no destruction. Krishna is beyond time. Krishna is beyond space. Yes, he is beyond space. We can see this photograph is Ras Leela. Krishna is divided into many Krishnas. He's in middle, he's everywhere. He's beyond space. He can be at one moment at many times. Space cannot limit him. Time cannot limit him. That's the meaning of beyond time and space. These things are limited by time and space. This will get destroyed. There's a clock in this. There's a clock in our body. We die after 100 years. The question is, why do we die after 100 years? Why don't we die after 1,000 years? Who is limiting our time now? Nobody knows. Who is limiting that time? Nobody knows. There's a term, apostasis, in science. But that's a term, no? If you ask what is a car, Rolls Royce. What is a Rolls Royce car? It doesn't give explanation. It's naming it. So naming a phenomena is not explanation. So why do cells die? Because of apostasis. Okay, what is apostasis? Because cells die. No explanation. It's just word juggling. Prabhupada says science is word juggling. Most of it. If you apply your brain. So, there's another meaning of Krishna is beyond time and space. Another meaning Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna is beyond time because Krishna's plans cannot be thwarted by time. Whatever he decides, it will happen. He is not constrained by time. His ideas are not constrained by time. If he wills, it's going to happen. Today, tomorrow, 1,000 years, but it must happen. For example, Lord Chaitanya had this determination, or this sankalpa, we'll preach all around the world. Okay, that happened after 500 years, no? Not at that time. So his plans cannot be limited by time. Our plans can be. He's beyond space. What's the meaning of that beyond space? There's another meaning for that beyond space. Beyond space means he's in Vrindavan, he's with devotees, and he is beyond space. Beyond space means he is giving an opportunity to serve him. You see, in America, uses the word space, no? I need a space. People say like that, no? I need a space for myself. Okay, fine. So there's a limit. There's a boundary around everybody. No. Okay, my room, I need my space. Krishna is beyond space. Krishna says, no problem, you can come in my heart. No limit for me. You come close to me. As much as you can. It's on your level of devotion. We have space. No. Okay, that's okay. But Krishna doesn't have. That's one meaning of time and space. Prabhupada explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita Ante Leela when he explains Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, first deduction. We get anything which is beginning into remain, that's material. Now we understand. Okay. Second point, which Prabhupada deduces from this comparison. Material world is begin from the Lord. And this is a pretty easy statement, but if you put in context, Prabhupada is saying, now our premise was, material world has beginning, middle, end. Spiritual world has no beginning, no middle, no end. So what you can deduce? This is a second conception you can deduce. If something has beginning, it should begin from something, no? Nothing can come from nothing. Something can come from nothing. So what is that something? That something should be beginningless. Simple. So this means material world is come from spiritual world. Simple, you deduce like that. Unlike Big Bang theory, something comes from nothing. It's nonsense. So what something comes from? Something. Something comes from something. But the initial thing from which it is coming, it should not have something beyond it, no? Is it? This word comes from God. God comes from where? God. God comes from where? God. There has to be some beginning which has no beginning. So this comparison helps us to understand that material world is begin from Lord. Because Lord has no beginning. And now we can tell, okay, fine. So, a second deduction from this premise. And the third deduction from this premise is, Prabhupada is continuing. Thus the form of Lord before beginning of material world is certainly transcendental to the finest and the finer material conception. Third deduction is that, now this is important to understand if you apply your brain. Prabhupada gives the example of ether. Ether in the material world is considered to be the finest. Finer than ether is mind, intelligence, false ego. And finer that is God. Now how do you deduce from that premise this statement? Prabhupada is writing this statement. Okay, our premise was material world has beginning, middle, end. And spiritual world has no beginning, no middle, end. Now this concludes that spiritual world is more subtle than material world. That's why this word is there, sukshmataram. Sukshmataram means subtle. How do you conclude that? Prabhupada gives a logic here. You see, we have earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. Now, earth, water is more finer than earth. For example, if you have a pot, now how do you make a pot? Earth, clay, but the pot has water also. In the clay, but you can't see water. So this shows that water is more finer than earth. Although there is water in earth, you cannot see water, you can see only earth. In our body, we have earth, but we have 76% water, more water than earth. But still we can see earth, earthly thing, matter, but we cannot see water. This shows water is more finer than earth. You see? More finer than water is, finer means subtle, more subtle than water is fire. For example, water moves, reverse. Why does water move? Because of fire. If you think about it, if you take fire from water out, heat, it becomes ice, it doesn't move. And if you put heat, it starts melting, it moves, there's fire. There is fire in water, but you can't see fire. This shows that fire is more subtle than water. Everybody's getting my point? Okay. Fire, earth, water, fire, air. Air is more subtle than fire. Because without oxygen, you don't have fire. But you can't see oxygen in fire. But it's there. So this shows air is more subtle than fire. And space or ether. Prabhupada is using ether. That was Einstein anyway. So ether or space. Space is more subtle than air. Because where is air? Air needs space. You can see storm, you can see tornadoes, but you cannot see space in which they exist. Although they are existing in a space. This means space is more finer than air. Similarly, if you go beyond mind, intelligence, ego, they are more finer than space. Because you can define space. Okay, this, if you have a pot, you have a space inside the pot. What is the shape of the space? Like pot. If you have a glass, what's the shape of space inside glass? Like glass. But more subtle is mind, intelligence, ego. You cannot define mind, intelligence, ego. It's more subtle. It is there, but it's more subtle. In space, you have mind, intelligence, ego. But you cannot see mind, intelligence, ego. That's in space. So if you apply this logic, go beyond, it's more subtle. And because we said that spiritual word is beginning, it should be the most subtle. That's why we say Lord is everywhere, but you cannot see. Just like water is in earth, you can't see. Fire is in water, you can't see. More subtle. Krishna is everywhere, you can't see. He's the most subtle. That logic Prabhupada is applying here. And you get this deduction by this premise. Material world is having beginning, middle, end. Spiritual world is having no beginning. Spiritual world is having no beginning, no middle, no end. From that you deduce third point. Prabhupada is writing in this. So that makes sense, no? Krishna is very fine. Okay. The next statement, fourth deduction, Prabhupada is mentioning here. But all 8 outward coverings are explained as outer covering of absolute truth. The absolute truth is therefore beyond expression and speculation of material conception. Because God is the subtlest, the finest, He is beyond expression and speculation of material conception. Now both words are important, expression and speculation. It might seem same, but it's a different. And that's this last line, Vag Manasaha Param. He's beyond words and mind. Words means expressions, mind means speculation. Prabhupada is translating both. He is the most subtle. For example, I'll give you an example. For example, you have, we take example of expression. Can you express what is space? You can't. You know it is, but you can't. Is it? You can say space is something, absence of something is space. But what is that? You can't say. You can say negative, you can't say positive. So, you don't know. Nobody knows. Similarly, God is beyond expression, beyond words. You can say that He is not having material body. He is having spiritual body. But what is spiritual body? We don't know. Nobody knows. Is there? So He's beyond expression. He's so subtle we cannot catch. Space you cannot express. Mind definitely you cannot express. What is mind made of? Come on, there are debates, Nobody knows. So the more subtle you go, the more language is limited to express it. What is false ego? That mind still we can understand. Okay, consciousness. What is false ego? Come on, there are no words, you can't explain. It's there, but you can't explain. Everybody knows it's there. So that's where Krishna is the most finest. There are no words. You can't express many things. Many things you can, completely you can't express Him. That's the point. And is beyond speculation. Beyond speculation means beyond word, beyond mind. Beyond speculation means you can't speculate what he is. For example, life. We know everybody is living. And we know what is life, reproduction, metabolism, growth, but yet we cannot say what is life. Nobody knows what's life. Nobody knows. How do you define life? We don't know. You can mimic reproduction. You can mimic growth. You can mimic metabolism in machines. But yet you cannot say what is life. Even if you mimic everything. Still you know that machine is not living. No? Intuitively you know. You can make a machine which grows, which metabolizes, which reproduces. That's life, no? And somebody can say, oh, this machine is living. Well, no scientist will dare to say it's living. It's machine. That's all. So life is a phenomena which you can't speculate upon. It's beyond speculation. Intuitively you know that this is not life. But still, you can't do anything. People say it's life. You can't do anything. So, expression and speculation is subtle. You can't express, you can't speculate. Okay, this is the fourth reduction. And the fifth reduction, Prabhupada begins here. He is certainly transcendental to all material conceptions. That is why he is called Nirvishesham. The word is Nirvishesham. This is the fourth deduction from a premise. Now, premise was that material world has beginning, middle, end. Spiritual world has no beginning, no middle, no end. From this, you deduce one information that whatever is bound by time, that is material. Whatever is beyond time and space, that is spiritual. Okay, fine, we understand this. Now, what do you mean by beyond time and space? Beyond time and space means that, you know what it means? In material conception, you have either yes or no. Is it? Positive, negative. You don't have yes, no together. You can't say this is right and at the same time this is wrong. It's not possible. Why? Because a knowledge is limited by time and space. Either this thing is there, either this thing is here. A thing cannot be at two places at one time. It cannot be. So, beyond space means a particular thing can do some things which is contradictory to your logic. You understand? Beyond space and time. It's contradictory to your logic. It can be right and wrong at the same time. Like Krishna. Krishna can be brahmachari and also kamachari at the same time. No? What do you do with it? When gopis went to Yamuna ji, and they wanted to cross Yamuna ji. So they asked Krishna. Krishna was standing there as a tax, the boatman. They asked Krishna what to do. Krishna told, well, you can't come in my boat. That's out of question. So you do one thing. You say to Yamuna that Krishna is brahmachari. And all gopis were laughing. Come on. You're joking with us. You do Ras Leela with us every night. And you say you're brahmachari. It's like complete nonsense. Krishna says, you tell to Yamuna ji, if Krishna is brahmachari, you give way. If this is truth, she'll give way. And they told, and Yamuna gave way. And they were surprised what's happening. And they crossed the Yamuna. And beyond Yamuna ji, when Rishi was staying, Durvasa Rishi, he was staying, they were taking offerings to him. They went, they gave him offerings. And before offerings, Durvasa said, see, I'm fasting. I always fast. Then, well, okay, give me offerings. He ate everything. And then he said, yeah, still I'm fasting. And gopis were confused, what's happening? We're going crazy. And then they told, we have to go back. How to go back? He told, okay, fine. Say to Yamuna ji, Krishna is kamachari. That means a debauchee. Prabhupada says, he's a debauchee. He's a flirt. Say like that. So they said to Yamuna ji, he's a flirt. And Yamuna ji gave way. And that's truth. And they came back. Then they asked Krishna, what's happening? You told you are like brahmachari. And he's telling you a flirt. And both are truth. How is it possible? Both are truth. It is possible because he's beyond time and space. Within time and space, two things cannot exist together. Plus and minus cannot exist together. But beyond time and space, it's possible. He's beyond time. So because he is beyond time, at the same time he can be both. Got my point? Because he is beyond space, he can be at everywhere, not limited by space. So it's contradictory. So fourth thing Prabhupada uses is Nirvisheshanam. Nirvisheshanam, Prabhupada says that one should not misunderstand Nirvisheshanam as being without transcendental qualification. Nirvisheshanam means without material qualities, but with transcendental qualities. Now here we deduce an important point. Transcendental qualities means contradictory qualities. Transcendental qualities do not mean that you can't speak anything about it, you can't think anything about it. It simply means you can't explain those phenomena. And here Prabhupada is also cutting Mayavadis. Mayavadi, it's a favorite word for Mayavadis, Nirvisheshanam. When you ask Mayavadis, God is... If they had to comment on this verse, they'll be so happy. And this is our verse. And they'll say Nirvisheshanam means... Visheshanam means quality, Nir means no. Prabhupada says, so yes, God has no quality. You can't speak anything about Him. He's beyond words. He's beyond everything. Just meditate. Nonsense. Prabhupada says, no, that's not Nirvisheshanam. Beyond words and beyond conception means he's having contradictory qualities. That's why you cannot speak about Him. You can't think about Him. It's not we can't speak anything. That's why Mahaprabhu used the word achinte. Achinte means inconceivable. Inconceivable doesn't mean that you can't conceive. Inconceivable means you can conceive but you can't explain. You can conceive that he's brahmachari. You know now. He's brahmachari, at the same time he's flirt. But you can't explain that. So that's achinte. He's not anirvachaniya. Mayavadi says he's anirvachaniya. You can't speak anything. Nothing. Who is God? Come on. Meditate. You can't speak anything. This is complete nonsense. So this is so important statement Prabhupada is making. Transcendental qualification. We should not be confused what is transcendental. Transcendental means contradictory qualities, which you can't explain. So that's fourth deduction. Now fifth deduction, Prabhupada continues with the premise. Remember the premise. Okay. The nullifying expression in four transcendental qualifications is he's unmanifested. Because he's fine, he's subtle, which we deduced from the premise. He's subtle, so subtle things we cannot see. Is it? We cannot see subtle things, no? The more the subtle, the more it's out of our sight. You can see earth, you can see water, but you cannot see space. Mind you cannot see, intelligence you cannot see, false ego you cannot see, Supreme Lord definitely you can't see. The more subtle, the more it is out of our sight. That's the word avyakta, unmanifest, and Prabhupada is coming to that point. You can't see Him. He's beyond our material vision. So that's the fourth deduction you get. Unmanifested. He's eternal. So anything which has no beginning, no end, no middle, that's eternal. Obviously that's eternal. Anything beyond time and space, that's eternal. That's the sixth deduction. And the seventh point is important. Prabhupada says, He's beyond limits of words, means negation of material conception. Last line Prabhupada says, unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to know the transcendental form of Lord. Now you understand what's the meaning of this statement. Until one is transcendently situated. What do you mean by this? We explain transcendental qualities as contradictory qualities, no? So, persons who are situated transcendently, they also have contradictory qualities. Not in the same capacity as Lord, but they have. And at that platform you can understand God. For example, about Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada says, Lord Chaitanya had... Prabhupada's quotes there, saints. Saints have contradictory qualities. At the same time, they can be soft as a rose and hard as a, what's that? Thunderbolt. Contradictory qualities. It's coming from Krishna. When you become spiritual, when you become transcendental, you also develop contradictory qualities. And then you can come in contact. Prabhupada was like that. He was soft as a rose to his devotees and hard as a thunderbolt in preaching. He was like that, no? He could switch like that. Suddenly he's very angry. extremely angry. You can't even see him. Suddenly he's very soft. That's devotee. Devotees are, just like you cannot see Lord, He's unmanifest. Devotees are also unmanifest, not as in the capacity of Lord. Unmanifest means you cannot recognize devotees. They'll seem ordinary. Is it? They'll seem ordinary. People went to Prabhupada. One person went to Vrindavan and he was asking, where is Prabhupada? And Prabhupada was gardening and he asked Prabhupada, where is Prabhupada? He couldn't recognize this Prabhupada. So Prabhupada joked, Prabhupada is founder Acharya and he's like this. And so, okay, good. So then he said Prabhupada, so I want to meet Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, no, wait, he's busy. So he said, come on, you just get sight. I want to meet Prabhupada. And then he goes inside. Then his servants asked him to wait. Prabhupada, he went there and, you are Prabhupada. And he's amazed. So devotees are unmanifest, just like Lord. Not in the same capacity that they can disappear. Not in the same capacity that you can't see him, but in the capacity that you can't recognize them. Vaishnavas, you can't recognize them. Vaishnavira kriya mudra vigyena vajaya. Even intelligent person cannot understand who is a Vaishnava. They will seem very ordinary. They like to keep themselves unmanifest, no? They don't like themselves to show. So that contradictory quality comes in them. Although nobody can recognize him, still everybody knows them. He's founder Acharya. It's contradictory. So it comes there. Just like Lord is eternal, devotees are eternal. Krishna says, na me bhakta pranashyati. My devotees are never destroyed. So they also become eternal. All these transcendental qualities of Lord comes in devotee, in different capacity. That means transcendental. That is why Prabhupada is saying, unless one is transcendently situated means unless you develop these contradictory qualities, which you can only develop on spiritual platform. You can't practice it. It will come. It's a gift. When you develop it, then you can participate with Lord. Then we can know transcendental form of Lord. Why? Because if you want to serve a Prime Minister, you should understand who Prime Minister is, no? You should understand his mood. You should understand his workings. Then you can become a secretary. Otherwise you're not qualified. Is it? If you want to serve Krishna in spiritual world, you should understand him. You should be like him in different capacity. And then you can understand, that's fine. For example, Prabhupada says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, okay, one puzzle for you. Why do we want to feel separation from Krishna? Is it? That's the goal of life? Krishna Prem? Love is all about separation? Finally. Why do we want love of God? What's the point? And why do we want to feel separation? Why? First of all, why? So, any answers for that? By the way, I just asking you. Just by the way. Any answers? Why do you want love? Oh, okay. But there's a problem with this answer. Problem is that we want love for our happiness. That's not a complete happiness. It's not a good, complete answer, no? We want love because of myself. That's not a good answer. You understand? It's okay, but it's not perfect. Why we want love? For ourselves? No. Then that's material conception. Anything linked to us is material. That's all. So, what do you say? That's the point here. We want love so that we can understand, so that we can go to spiritual world and we can serve those who are in love with Krishna. That's why we want love. Because if we don't have love, we can't serve people who are in love with Krishna. We will not be able to understand. We go to spiritual world, Radharani is sad. Say, come on, why are you sad? Like Uddhav. He couldn't understand what's love. So he was just, come on. But other gopis, they could understand why Radharani is sad. Because they were experiencing the same thing what she was experiencing, no? Then you can understand, no? So girlfriend and boyfriend, they can remain together if they understand each other. If girlfriend can experience what he experiences, if he experiences what she experiences, then you can go together. Otherwise the relationship breaks. Similarly here, why do we want all these contradictory qualities? Why does Krishna give us these qualities as gift to his devotees? Because when they come to spiritual world, they can serve the Lord, they can understand his devotees, because they have contradictory qualities. If you don't have experience of that, you can't serve them properly. You get my point? It's not for us, it is for service. Everything is for service. Our vision should be fixed on service. Our senses should be fixed in renunciation. Our heart should be fixed in emotions. Then there's a perfection. So, that's Prabhupada's last line. Beautiful line. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to know the transcendental form of Lord. It's a beautiful line. So, this verse talks about a premise that material world is beginning, middle, end. Spiritual world is no beginning, no middle, no end. And from that premise, we deduce 7 points from that comparison. We deduced 7 points which Prabhupada is mentioning in his purports. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions? 5 minutes left. I finish on time. That's good. Okay. What's that? Sixth, in my list it is Nityam. He's eternal. He's eternal beyond time and space. This means he's eternal. Nothing can destroy him. Nothing can stop him. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Time has no power to stop him. Neither him, neither his plans, neither his ideas, neither his love for devotees. It cannot be stopped. It's eternal.
So the first and second point were about the material world being bound by time and space.
Yeah, something, yeah. And then, okay, yeah, Mataji. Should I repeat those points or what?
That'd be good.
I'll summarize those points. So, we have a statement, material world is having beginning, middle, end. We have a statement, spiritual world is having no beginning, no middle, no end. In themselves, you get no information. But when you compare, then you get more information. Just like you rub 2 wood, you get fire. In themselves, you don't have. So when you bring these 2 information together, then you start getting more information. What information? That first information is because material world, when you compare, then you understand what is material world. Without comparison, you don't understand. The first information is that material world is bound by time and space. That is not bound, this is bound. Second information is that because that has no beginning, that has beginning, this means material world, source of material world is spiritual world. Because that has no beginning and this has beginning, so definitely that should be the source. Something should come out of something. And what that something should be, that should be eternal, with no further beginning. That's second. Third is because we see that we analyzed water, air, earth, fire, ether in ourselves. When you go before, things become subtler. And because Lord is initial person, he's a subtlest. So that's the third point. Fourth point is because he's subtlest, he is beyond expressions and speculations. The more subtle you become, the more difficult to define. Space is difficult to define, express. Mind is more difficult. Life is absolutely not difficult. Consciousness, you can't speak anything about it. So Lord is beyond expressions and speculations. Fifth is, he is nirvishesham. That means he's having transcendental qualities. Transcendental qualities means because he's beyond time and space, this means he's having contradictory qualities. Because he's beyond time, at the same time he can be brahmachari and flirt. Because he is beyond space, at the same time he can be everywhere. Probably like quantum physics maybe, I don't know. But yeah, there's transcendental qualities. And the fifth point is, because he is very subtle, we cannot see him. He's unmanifest. Sixth point, that is avyakta. Because seventh point is nityam, that's the word used here. Because he is beyond time and space, he is eternal. Time cannot destroy him, time cannot stop him, space cannot stop him. And because he is transcendental, to meet him, we should also have all these transcendental qualities in different capacity, not in the same capacity as Lord has. And that's the seventh point. That's all. This is Prabhupada all about. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Mataji.
Yeah, you were talking about the contradictory qualities that Krishna has. And you're saying that he has both, I think it was simultaneously, like being a brahmachari and a devotee, right?
Yeah.
And somehow I deduced that you were implying or saying that in our conditioned state, in Tibada, that we can't be like that.
Yeah, we can't be like that.
But I'm seeing that, I'm thinking that we are like that too, because within ourselves we do have contradictory qualities. We can be shy and we can be bold at the same time.
Yeah, that's what, you're right. I mean to say, we don't have contradictory qualities, we have a reflection of that contradictory qualities. In conditioned stage, we have a reflection. We have a shadow of that, no? Everything exists here. So we have a shadow, yeah. So emotions, we can be at the same time shy. Woman can do that. If she's with child, if she's with husband, she can be both. Suddenly she can be with a child like a mother. With the husband, suddenly she can change her mood. So it can happen in material conception, but it's a shadow. Just like a lust, that's a perverted reflection of love. So it's a perverted reflection. It has to be there. You can't deny it. But when you become perfect, transcendently situated, it's not shadow. We have a spark of that. It's reality. We develop all those really we develop. And that's perfection.
So,
you understand?
So is it like a perverted reflection?
Yeah, in us it is perverted reflection. It's all perverted reflection. Okay. Thank you very much. Mataji. You want to ask? Okay. That's okay.
So, if we see the material world, some devotees, advanced devotees, would see it as a spiritual.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
And Prabhupada said that.
The so-called beginning and end is spiritual. So can you say something about that for like the neophyte communication?
Yeah, I understand your point, yeah. Yeah, I got your point, yeah. See, material world is beginning, middle, end. This will get destroyed. So this is material. Definitely. These things are material. You can't do anything with that. But, Prabhupada explains, this... now, you are saying advanced devotee sees everything as spiritual? Why they see this spiritual not constitutionally, but dispositionally. There's a difference between constitution and disposition. In constitution, this is material, beginning, middle, end. But as a function, disposition means function. It starts functioning spiritually. And how it starts functioning spiritually? It then we put in service of God. So as a function, it is spiritual, not as a constitution. No, that's a difference. Just like us, constitutionally we are servant of Lord, but dispositionally we are nonsense. No, we don't function like that. We are not servant of God. Similarly here, so that I think solves the problem. No? So advanced devotee, as a disposition they see as spiritual because they see everything connected to God, in service of God. But at the same time, they know constitutionally it's matter. That's all. Okay, thank you very much for. Yeah, why not?
You describing how the ultimate Krishna is the subtlest, right? So subtle, like it cannot be seen.
No.
And then we read the scriptures, in the scriptures when Krishna is walking amongst us, then you have the Archa Vigraha form of Krishna.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yesterday I explained that. You're right. We got that point yesterday. Even if he walks among us, even if he's seeing Archa Vigraha, to many people you can see, yet you cannot see him. He's still unmanifest. Yesterday we were discussing Bhagavatam. Prabhupada raises this point. Bhavaita Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yog Maya Samaprita. Prabhupada speaks. If scripture says he is unmanifest, Krishna is walking. Same question. Krishna came in deity form. Then why do scripture says he is unmanifest? Because to non-devotees he'll hide himself. You can see him, but you cannot see him. Archa Vigraha, you can see him, but yet you cannot see him. Is it? We cannot see him totally. He doesn't talk to us. In full capacity, we don't see him, no? If you meet a person, if you say, I went to see him, but he didn't talk to you, he didn't do anything with you, what you'll say? Well, I really don't know whether I saw him or not. I really don't know whether I met him or not. He didn't do anything with me, no? So that's really not meeting. You met, but you didn't meet. Similarly, we meet Krishna, we greet Krishna, but actually we are not meeting him because he doesn't reciprocate with us. So in that sense, he is still unmanifest to us. He's there, but still unmanifest. You getting my point? So in that sense, scripture says unmanifest. And to non-devotees, he thinks he's ordinary. When he comes, he's an ordinary person. He doesn't manifest. So scriptures are right when they say he's unmanifest. But to devotees, he reveals by his own energy.
So to the degree that we care for him and maintain him.
Yeah, he will manifest. That's why when we come in front of Krishna, okay, are you happy or are you sad? We are both. Because when we see Krishna, we are happy, he's there. But we are sad because he doesn't reciprocate with us. He's not manifesting himself fully to us now. He's not happy with us. Otherwise, he would talk to us. He's Krishna. So he's not fully happy. I don't know when that day will come, but it's very difficult. But so he's manifest, he's unmanifest, both. So we are sad and we are happy, both. That's why Mahaprabhu, when he used to see Jagannath, he used to weep. To help us understand, Krishna, accept me and reciprocate with me. That's the idea. Well, he's happy also. It goes both ways. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.